Around these kind of emotional infrastructures in our life. You mentioned in your chapter about your personal struggles. And as we said, when we are living in a long term in these kind of mental, psychological, emotional struggles, it has impact on us. Yet you found in you the strength to develop the compassion for others. How did you navigate yourself to have the compassion, not narcissistic or egoistic, high chin attitude?
That's a great question. And I am very, I like to be very consciously aware that we all believe in different things. And I didn't want my chapter to, I wanted people to have to say, oh, okay, I'm going to be open to reading this. So I didn't want to offend anyone, in that I didn't want to make my chapter too much about something that someone didn't resonate with. And so in that aspect, I said, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't, talk about how much religion, impacted me, and I said, okay, well, just do this in short little bits, so that it feels authentic to you, that you acknowledge, but that you don't overwhelm someone with your belief, and feel like you're pushing it on to someone. But yeah, so I guess I can thank my mother, who passed when I was 7, but because she was Catholic, and so that's how she was bringing up my 2 brothers and myself. And so in 1st grade and 2nd grade, so she passed when I was in 2nd grade, but I was in Catholic school. And back then, it was a long time ago, back then, there were nuns. And those were the days where handwriting, oh my goodness. One thing that came out positive, that everyone, oh, you have such beautiful handwriting. And I'm like, well, that's because my hand would get smacked by a nun if it wasn't done right. So, but yeah, so it kind of was instilled in me, as a value that, that God was something that was important to my mother, and that belief. And so it resonated with me. I mean, I can remember, going to mass, in school, even in 1st and 2nd grade. I can just remember that mass, daily mass, and it just had a huge impact. And all that death, though, in that short period of time, I have to say, really, and just going from like 1 minute, like a normal, seemed to be normal family life, 5 people in my family, my mom, my dad, and my 2 brothers and me, to just seemingly overnight. And time as a young child just kind of isn't the same thing, but overnight into just almost like, in my mind, like just being in prison. And so I really just, I mean, it was just like my life was like a bomb had just detonated. And I really was angry with God for, and I didn't want to, didn't want to make the chapter so much about me that I wasn't helping others, but really, really, really did get mad with God. and, and had my little pity moments of why me, this, yeah, why me? And I mean, I can, there's stories, and they'll just have to be my stories, but there's stories that just would just make me go, my God, this is so unfair. Like, why did you why am I alive? What plan do you have for me?
You write about your religion, about your faith, and about presence of God in your life. And I fortunately, there was some connection in my life with God, but not through my family. It was just, a Sunday appearance, but that's it. Uh, in my adult life, I've met women who showed me the practice and the value of connection with God. And this is when actually I was already living in Qatar. So I'm very, very grateful to these women. This is Gloria and Andrea, my two walking angels, really. And
We have walking angels.
oh, also absolutely. And they have showed me on a different level. They appeared in my life in the right time. So I was stepping on the higher level, and each of them were appearing on the higher level. So it was
I love
absolutely beautiful. But the moments when you walk on the street angry, and then you stand and look in the heaven, are you laughing good? Are you laughing good? Am I a good joke for you? So,
Yeah,
and then you
I
are,
that's funny. I've literally had kind of the exact same is this funny? I've had the same thought process. Is this funny?
yes,
Like uh and so, you know, and I realize that, you know, everyone doesn't believe in God. How and that's okay. There's no judgment here. I will say I'm very I'm not, I call myself Catholic. I don't hold myself as a strict Catholic. Don't even hold myself as a practicing Catholic. I feel like God or whatever someone holds as to what they connect with. I feel like that is something sacred to you and almost kind of like a value, what happiness that brings to you and what that means to you and how you associate your being, your existence to that thing, to what, you know, some people call God, you know, whatever someone calls it. And to me, uh the way one of the ways that I process death, because I do, as you kind of made mention, there is, and I'm just wondering why, and I don't know, I haven't done any research behind this, but why all of a sudden now am I seeing across the board in print, in both the, I guess in the context of the work world, in maybe psych, you know, I'm just seeing trauma, like in the coaching world, I'm seeing trauma, trauma. And I'm like, what's happened? Why is this like, why is this presenting right now? Like, what's behind this? And one of the things that really helped me process all that death, because I was right in the middle of it, was the belief that, and this is my own belief, I don't know where it came from, but I think I had to believe this in order to get through it, was that, you know, God has a plan for all of us. And sometimes we don't know what that plan looks like. Sometimes we think that's unfair. It looks terrible. We suffer, you know. However, with my mother and both my brother, their deaths, while it took away from me and impacted my life, really it put me on a different projection, because I feel like had they lived, my life would have been totally different. I feel like their deaths were meant to be in the aspect, if I looked at the broader picture, the bigger picture, and I looked at their pain and suffering, and I say, okay, well, what if they didn't live? What if they lived? What if they didn't die and they lived? What would their lives look like? And I think, oh wow, you know, and then that's where I allow myself to look at something differently. And I think
mhm,
that's what people don't do enough of. You know, and we've talked about how everyone's in their own little world, just thinking
yeah,
about themselves. And I think that this is part of emotional intelligence, awareness. And you bring this
yeah,
up in your chapter, awareness, not just of ourselves, but but life on a broader scope. And so, you know, I said, oh, wow, you know, I'm just thinking about my own pain, where I am in life. However, what if my brother and mother had lived? What would their lives look like? And when I kind of go, oh, wow, maybe they would have known a lot of pain and suffering had they lived. Maybe their lives were, God decided that they had had enough of pain and suffering, and maybe God, as you said, angels from above said, okay, let's bring peace. And so, that's how I processed their deaths, and got through that anger with God as to, okay, well, maybe this happened for the betterment of just them being in a better place, and being angels to me on my journey now as I go without them. And kind of going back to what gets us through life, what gives us hope, what provides that positiveness. And as I did say something about, you brought up goals in your chapter. I've brought up values. One thing I did learn in the 6 seconds in emotional intelligence, which was very powerful, because I never thought about this. And I'm looking at let your vision be your driver. I love that saying behind you. And one of the things that we did in the EQ practitioner class, the 6 seconds, was towards the end, was to define our noble goal. Now, wouldn't that be powerful if every person that got hired by an organization was asked to define their noble goal? Wow, wouldn't that give cause for someone to
Huge
just go,
movement. It would be a
yes,
huge, huge movement. I was practicing that. I was
because,
practicing that, and I have to agree with you that, within the team, everybody had, I usually did like 5 goals per year, where one goal is purely private, the personal
yeah,
growth.
yeah,
And I was sometimes pushing. It showed how literacy of expression is on a low level. People have no idea who they are. People
yeah,
have no idea what kind of potential and abilities they have in themselves. They even
yeah,
do not, they are having no ability to um, create the projection, what I would like to do, what I would like to
yeah,
achieve. They
yeah,
want to have, I want to have a goal like 1 meter away from me. I will just
yeah.
grab and have it. If I need
Instant
to,
gratification.
yeah,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
I need to sweat, uh, because I have so many duties at home, because I am having 5 kids to take care of, because the list of justifications is endless, and so on and so on. And it's a leader role to pull it and have it close, and it's having amazing, amazing positive impact on
yep,
personal people life.
yep. I totally agree. Um, Joshua Freeman, one of the co-founders of 6 seconds, his 6 seconds goal, global goal is, and I'm sorry, I don't have the statistic right off my head. I want to say, and I could be wrong, by 2031, he wants and I could totally have the statistic totally wrong. He wants 1 billion people, or maybe it's 10 billion. It's practicing emotional intelligence. And one of the things I think I just heard you say is, not enough people know what emotional literacy is. And I did talk about that in my chapter. And it is just, part of defining. So here's my noble goal: uh, illuminating the magic of human potential by fostering connections with others.
Beautiful.
Be- because I would not be alive today had it not been understanding how we exist in this world as it relates to other people, and what that means to us, and the gift of, as you said, these angels that come in, these angels that aren't even family members, that come into our
Yeah.
lives and pick us up and give to us. That's who we can be to each other all day
Oh,
long.
and the
We have that
interesting thing
impact.
is, the certain people are just appearing in your life out of nowhere,
Yes.
and they are immediately stuck with you for
Yeah.
the right purpose.
Yes.
And I think it's a matter of
Awareness.
your awareness and your own
Yes.
purpose of
Yes.
existence.
Yes.
Because
And so
if you
that,
are having that, then you are connecting with these people. If you don't have it, you let them pass you.
you missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things, kind of circling back to what pulled me through that self-compassion. I think your question was, well, how did I become aware of that? And I think that the early foundation of religion and one of the things about Catholicism as a religion is they love guilt. Uh, they love
Yeah.
guilt. But I think that awareness just in people's suffering. I think that my religion kind of gave me that awareness, even as a child, that other people suffer in this world, that other people are less fortunate, other people are hungry. I think I don't remember, I'm much older than you, but I remember being affected by just world hunger, seeing pictures in the National Geographic of small children from Ethiopia with extended bloated stomachs.
Yeah.
And it was just so, so sad. And so I just had that awareness of suffering. And so what got me through, uh, and I think that created the hope, that created the resilience. That created part of my putting those bricks onto my foundation, onto my
Yeah.
efficacy, is to say, okay, if I'm not concentrating on me and I'm not wallowing in, oh, poor me, oh, my life is like, what is this? If I don't look inside and I look outside and I'm aware of other people and other people having it much worse than me, and I'm aware of this, then I don't, then I'm not keeping myself in the negative. I'm empowering myself to pull myself up out of my own self-pity, out of my own world, and I'm looking at everyone else and I'm going, oh, and I'm having compassion. I'm having
Hmm.
compassion. Oh, there's other people suffering. This is terrible. Like, I can't complain to God. Like,
When I remember from my family, when I come and I just share some negativity that I feel bad, I feel sad, and I hate this, I hate that. And then this kind of standard slogan, oh, don't complain, don't curse. You are having much better than many other people on this world. Did you see these people from that country don't have food, don't have water? And then, is it okay to shut me down, comparing me to other region in this world? I'm living here. Does it make me, if I complain or even I have a weakness moment, does it make me egoistic?
yeah,
No. Why I should diminish myself just because the other people are having worse conditions in world? It doesn't mean it should not make me aware. And but why I am crossed that I should not complain just because other people are having wars? Am I responsible for that? That other people are having worse life?
no. And I think, and I'm so circling back to some of your earlier questions as to what happens when we and how we address trauma, and whether we do or we don't, and what impact that play on our life later on. And I think that we all have coping mechanisms. One of the greatest lessons that I learned, and I'm sorry to say this, I learned it as an adult, but I wanted to view my divorce and it's funny because you have a story in here that relates to a man and a woman arguing, kind of just is a little bit similar. But, I kind of wanted to find fault. And I was taking a marriage and family class. And the professor, this is where I learned about the family of origins kind of transferring through generations, actually through generations. Um, but the professor said to me, because I kind of wanted to, lay fault, he does, alcohol, narcissist. These were some of the things that I felt like I had suffered, and that was like why the marriage had disintegrated. But I kind of wanted to hold that cross
Mm-hmm.
of, oh, poor me again,
Yeah.
and something that just really, really, as a human being, opened my heart, my mind, but my heart, because I had anger, was she said this. She said, well, we're all humans, we're all alike. We're no different. We just experience, and she used this word, and I loved this word because it's not negative.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess it could be, but I didn't take it as negative. I took it as neutral. She said, we all have anxieties in life. We just process them differently. And when I took that in, because I was really ranting and raving, well, I wasn't ranting and raving, but I was really going on about his, the alcoholism, um, and how that impacted me. But when I sat back and got out of my world, took myself out of my, me, my world, and I went outside of my internal thinking, and I looked at the broader picture, and I said, oh, wow, and I sat with that statement for a while. I didn't like it at first. I really, because I wanted to be the, I wanted to be the victor. I wanted to be,
Yeah.
I wanted to tell myself that I was the one that was right. And I was, this was wrong. I was right, And when I got out of that judging position, and I thought, wow, this is compassionate. This is looking in an external worldly view of, we're all human,
Yeah.
we all have faults, we all have things that have impacted us in life that we can call anxieties, our traumas that we've experienced. They all look different, and we call them anxieties. How we've equipped ourselves to deal with that, the
I
tools that
think
we
it's very
look different,
interesting.
look different. And so,
Think.
it really did broaden that. And I thought, okay, well, alcoholism, drugs, different outlets for people are coping mechanisms. Alcoholism is a coping mechanism,
Yeah.
even narcissism is a coping mechanism.
Yes.
Um, and so, I thought, wow, okay, while this has hurt me even more, and but I can understand this. This was a coping mechanism. I don't have to take this upon myself as this was done unto me, because this is
Mm.
this is the way he deals with his life, with or without me.
Yeah.
And it just was an eye opener. It was a big eye opener. And yeah, I just think compassion is missing in this world. And I think that we
I
do
don't know.
too.
You know what? Honestly, to say, whenever I show compassion, I get hits to my face. That's
Really?
straightforward. It's always really in life, and especially in your private life. Yeah. It's we all are doing some mistakes, and no one is perfect. Perfectionism is not existing. I say perfectionism limits potential. The more important for me is the building the awareness, ability to accept it, acknowledge, and trying to learn, to change.
Yeah.
And I grew up, and even, to my late adulthood, is hearing that I am responsible for one, two, three. And I got so much tired to try to say a word, because whenever I showed myself that I disagree, I was immediately shutting down. I am outside the mind. I am unbalanced emotionally, and so on. And it was another level of fighting for being seen. And I got so much upset. Fortunately, in general, as this part of life was broken somewhere, and I call it definitely power from the top, I kept myself steady for growth.
I
So
like
for
that.
the brain, for the brain stimulation. So when this other life, the personal life, collapsed, I was strong enough to not fall because I had a knowledge spine that held me strongly to proceed. It was the power of my daily narrative. Despite today, I didn't know what was the purpose, but I was so strongly connected to build that narrative. And when the things fall apart, I didn't fall. I
Yeah.
stood and followed the rational and not emotional. And I remember
Love
there are
that.
like two moments where, we are saying about reading red flags. When we are hungry, we don't see the red flags. We are creating this kind of world that we still have hope we can change it, right? That's why I say this, feeding yourself with hope. No, if
Can
you
be
do
empty.
that,
I see.
stop it, right?
Yeah.
Because I was feeding myself with a hope. And we were having kind of questionnaire. And what is important in your life? And one is replying to have good car. Me is replying to have healthy family. And then we are having one-to-one session. And here, Magdalena, you know what you heard. Yes, I know, but I have no power yet.
Yeah.
But I know, because that was something you can't connect.
Yeah.
These two responses are so extremes, you
Yeah.
can't connect. And what is another thing, what is coming, the old saying, you will get to know with whom you are at the moment of your divorce. It's a metaphoric saying, but the moment of the split, the moment of end, how you are treated is showing what value you had to that person. And despite you are recognizing either it is at workplace or in family or in beloved relationship, the way how you are treated at the end stage, you discovered, it means I didn't have a value. No, you could see it, but you have been blind. You have chosen to be blind because you were feeding your hope.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I totally agree with you on looking at it like through that lens. I think that's where you connected with my story
Yeah.
is that I had that internal spine. You know, I can't go into the depth of further details, but I had that belief thanks to God and thanks to my empathy. I think of just having a connection that I'm well, I'm here, but by the grace of God and other people. And I think, but so it's that spine to say, okay, no matter what comes my way, no matter what I'm hit with, I'm not going to fall down. I'm not going to fall flat because
Yeah.
this is my internal spine. And I do think that one of the questions was like, well, how can we help younger people, younger generations have that spine? And I think because yes, organizations have a responsibility to continue to promote that growth. However,
Mhm.
as you pointed out, the people have to do the self-worth or the
Oh,
self-work
definitely.
work. Yeah, the work. I mean, and that's what I'm finding that people they're lazy and don't want to do the work,
Yeah,
and making excuses by saying I don't have the time, um or that's not important. They're not giving it enough significance and importance. They're not realizing the value. And but yeah, that's what I'm seeing. And I think
yeah,
that is why 6 seconds is saying our goal is to just have people practicing emotional intelligence, because it is an awakening. It is awakening to
very
do
much.
the self work. And it, kind of as you point out in a lot of your stories, we cannot look at other people as the reason or the cause of anything. We have to take
Yeah,
accountability. We have
definitely.
we if we go into an organization, and we want to rise up the ranks of leadership, we have to take accountability for what we put into that. And we have to be part of, I coach a lot of younger people in where they are career wise, and I'm like, okay, think of it like this. Think of it as you are your own boss, and you have to kind of take stock of what you do to get where you're at, and just acknowledge that. And I even kind of advise my own daughter. I'm like, okay, because she does do a lot of work outside of work. She brings it home, she stays up late at night, and I'm like, all right, well, if this is what you have to do to be successful, fine. However, do yourself a favor and just keep track of what you do outside of work. And then on your next review, because people can only respond to bringing you up higher if you are leveraging yourself to where you're working in combination. So I said, if you keep track of those hours, then on your next review you can say, hey, we were on this project and this project, and we had a successful outcome. And you know why? Because I put in 30 additional hours
That's
outside of
right.
work to make this happen. And it's that communication, it's that kind of work. And it's just, I feel like there's just not enough accountability work to understand, okay, well, if you want to be here, you have to be part of the process. You
I
have to be
call
part
it,
of.
it's very well said, and actually, you gave a great example. I call it healthy assertiveness because
Yeah.
sometimes we talk about assertiveness, and I see the workshops. Oh, sign up, we will teach you assertiveness. Jesus Christ, you can't teach assertiveness within the 30 hours of workshop.
No.
It's years of practice, years of failures, years of readings, various books, and because without conceptual knowledge, you are not capable even to say no. Yeah.
And
If you say
there's a negative connotation with that word when it
absolutely,
comes to females. It's okay
absolutely,
for males to be, yeah.
and for me, healthy assertiveness is where you are aware of your own value and you are able to support your no in a very diplomatic, high level justification. And this healthy assertiveness, it's not always to say no, but build the psychological boundaries to respect you as a human being. And this is also something today we are having among young people. They are stepping into the organizations, and this is what I expect. And as long as you don't meet my expectations, I'm out. Yeah, that's
Yep.
not okay. For me, it's not okay. Some people are pro this young generation. For me, no. If you want to learn something, you need to bend a bit your spine and let elders show you the way. It doesn't mean you are losing dignity.
Yeah.
No. But
You know
it's
what's
definitely,
missing from that thought process is
yeah,
the value of learning.
yeah,
They're by having that attitude, they are showing that they don't have they're not putting any value into learning.
Yeah,
Because
definitely. I agree. And here also, I want to ask you, from that perspective, why do you think people much easier praise the negativity and it's so hard for them to be kind to each other?
are we talking personally, professionally, or just in general?
As a human being, if you look, actually, you are as a personally or professionally, both. We are much faster into praising the negative reaction in terms praising in terms of performing rather than being kind to one another.
Yeah. I mean,
Why
that's
do
the
you think
thing.
is that?
I well, okay, I'm gonna just right off the cuff, I'm gonna say that there are a lot of people that don't have the social maturity to be able to handle and portray building people up. I think that building people up in a positive light, recognizing people, you know what, if you peel back the layers on that one, you have to say, okay, well, who's delivering that? And are they the right vehicle to deliver it? Part of the social maturity, is are they using the right tone? Are they using the right words, the diction? What is the delivery system that they're doing this? Is it appropriate? Is it right? Because that is an awareness. That's, again, awareness of emotions and of awareness of your own emotional intelligence to be able to do that. And I don't think, and you say, well, why is there not more of that? Because I don't think there's enough people investing in emotional intelligence, and there's definitely a lower level of social awareness, and I don't think people have that skill set. I think that's what's missing from everything. And I think probably if you said, what's the one thing that could instantly help connection, and it would be that right there. It would be the ability to lift people up, to highlight the positive. And in this singular me world,
Right.
it's not
And
there.
to be ready to give away something from yourself, and which
Yes.
I call it's the time and attention, which is very difficult because people are not willing to give you time.
Yeah.
Quality time. Yeah, quality time.
Yeah. So I have two superpowers. One's the empathy, because that's kind of came from the compassion awareness, but the other one is my energy, and I think that came from just experiencing all that death and realizing how valuable life is, and what a gift it is. And you can ask anyone. A living testament of my life would probably be that people would say long after I'm gone, wow, she just, her energy lit up the room. And you just said something about just, the ability to give of ourselves. And that is what brings me to my noble goal, is what I constantly want to do and be in life, is the person that just brings happiness to people, that lights people up, that helps people be, really see themselves to be all they can be. And because that's what was done to me in my ability to prosper and grow. And I think that there's just, to be able to do that is it's special. And I don't think that that's anything that I think any of us can achieve that, but it takes work. It takes,
Definitely.
and I think it takes a desire to want to be that person.
I have found one Polish channel, and it's not a priest, it's a kind of missionary priest. And he said, you go through struggle, remember, following year, you will be in the new place, in completely different place. But like you said, you need to want that. And there is nothing worse than year by year, you are stuck in the same place. You are just existing. You are not living your life, but you are just existing. Yeah. And enjoying the sauce, already rotten, most probably, rotten sauce of your continuously newly created justifications why you don't do that change. Jennifer, just for the, I'm sure we will meet again
Oh,
for
yes.
conversations. I would love to.
I would too.
But message that you could send, what would it be?
It's okay to not have everything figured out, to not be perfect. It's okay to, it's just okay. I think one of the, and I'm trying to think of the 6 second saying, I think it's just okay to be like, and I actually, it's another saying. Hold on, let me try to look real quick. I love this saying though. Oh, here we go. You ready? So
Yeah.
this is a 6 second. So this is a message. No way is the way. There's no such thing as one size fits all. So we need to differentiate and personalize. We need flexibility and space for people to develop authentic, powerful, individual solutions. And I think in a world that constantly has us under a spotlight, it is hard not to try to conform, try to, it's hard. It's easy to get lost. It's easy to lose our authenticity. And I think if I had one message for women in particular, it is no way is the way, and to to just be your authentic self, to be okay where you're at in life, but to constantly connect with yourself, connect with what's important, connect with the goals, and make it, we have to make ourselves happy first before we can make anyone else happy. And I think I think that's it. Just continue your self growth, continue to love yourself, continue to recognize the value of who you are in this world.
Definitely. It's wonderful. It's
Yeah.
really, really beautiful, especially when you said no way is also the way.
Yeah.
And it starts with, in my understanding, with being kind, but first towards yourself, because
Yes.
we are, again, faster to be kind, people pleaser to others, and to keep our heart bleeding. We need to remember we are unique. And the courage is there. It's up to you which way you choose, yes or
Yes.
no. Jennifer Ransdell with me, and book Courage, #1, Amazon's bestseller. It's available, so go ahead, grab your copy and read inspiring, courageous stories that will make your life empowered and you inspired to bring the change to your satisfaction in life. Content, not only happy, but content life.
Yeah.
Jennifer, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'll be in touch. I just enjoyed today so much. Thank you, Magdalena.